Alright, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Today, we have got ourselves a TvP on the map Purity and Industry. It should be an exciting one for a multitude of reasons. For starters, Purity and Industry is a bit of a wacky map with all these inhibitor zones and stuff. But let me introduce the players. In the top right, we have got none other than Dragon Phoenix Gaming Cure. He is my Korean Terran pick. I know that there's really good players like Marud Innovation, but I like to be someone who roots for players that have yet to have their big result, but are really good. And so Cure really is at the forefront of that. He's playing in the GSL tonight as I record this video. And now his opponent, kind of lesser known, I imagine, because he's in more of the elusive Chinese scene. It's Cyan for Brave Star Gaming. Cyan is a Chinese Protoss player. He's quite good in the scene. I think he's won multiple Chinese events. But when it comes to StarCraft 2, and most things, the Chinese scene is kind of shut off a little bit. So it can make it a little bit tough to keep tabs on the players. Like, I've wanted to invite Chinese players to events, but it's hard to get a hold of them. And so, yeah, we kind of miss out on them a little bit. So whenever I get a chance to cast them, I'll go out of my way to do it a little bit. So it's nice to see Cyan taking on a player as good as Cure in a TvP, and then we've got a Chinese player taking on sort of an underrated Korean Terran on the map Purity and Industry. So it's going to be fun, I definitely think, particularly as the Chinese players are really, the Chinese players are very creative, is the way I'd put it up. I know that there's Haas, who's from Taiwan, and he is a very good Protoss player, and he's kind of like who you think of when you think of that region for the most part. But it's not just Haas, man. They've got their own meta in China. They've got all their own playstyles and everything. Probe runs in for Cyan, gets gunned down by those two Marines. He tried to turn it around, but didn't in time, and that's because Cure's actually going for a 1 base. Interestingly enough, Cure is going for a 1 base off of a 1 gas play, so Cyan doesn't really know about this. So he's got to be careful with his Adept as it moves across the map. She didn't quite get a glimpse of those Marines, but as she hops on that watchtower, she will. So Cyan's going to have to react to that. He's going to have to shade that Adept, get that lady out of there. He shades, he engages the Marines. Oh, she could actually die, which would be a big loss for the Protoss, and she does. Cyan maybe should have waited back. Engaging 3 Marines is a tricky thing when you're a Protoss player with just 1 Adept. Now, a shield battery is on the way next for Cyan, so he's going to have that out to help heal up his units a little bit. But Cure is going to be going for Hellions and Marines, pushing on in the early game. A really cool build from Cure. 1 base aggression with 1 gas is not something that's easy to do, but I think it could be very economical because it lets you get your command center with relative ease, and then if you're getting damage done as well, it's just really great for you. Now, the 2 Hellions and Marines chilling on the watchtower. Looks like the Marines are going to be the ones getting lifted up. They're going to be flying towards the main base. They're going to fly over the Stargate where the Oracle's about to pop out. The Oracle will definitely be able to help out a little bit, but the problem is that these Marines can just load up into the Medivac. If the Oracle engages them, the Oracle pops out. I'm not sure what response Cyan should do. He's got his Adepts trying to chase down these Hellions, but oh no, the Hellions are being left unattested. The Oracle's engaging the Marines, but Cure can just lift these up and micro them. The Medivac's been healing them, so not great for Cyan, losing 9 probes already. Disastrous results for the Protoss player. Cure getting so much damage done. I mean, Cure did delay his own tech and everything a little bit going for this, but he's getting even more damage done. He loses the Medivac, I think. Let's check. Yeah, Phoenix killed off the Medivac, but this many probe kills is huge. Look at the count. It's currently 29 SCVs to 26, and Cure does have up that natural base. So he is in an absolute lead. Cyan's going to have to do something to come back in this game, and it looks like he's actually going to push across the map with Stalkers and Adepts. And seeing as how Cure was kind of just doing like the 1-1-1 thing, he doesn't have that much production up yet. He's making a few Marines. Oh, he does get the Oracle with the mine, though. So all of a sudden, the aggression that Cyan has been hoping to get done has been put all on these Adepts. These two Adepts, they kill one SCV right away. The Stalkers are coming in. And now this can actually put the pressure on Kier a little bit. Kier maybe underestimating the response from Cyan, who's now killing off 5 of his own SCVs, 7 SCVs, and is denying Kier mining it as natural. It looks like 2 more probes died somewhere. But this is really, really good damage getting done by the Protoss player, denying Kier mining it as natural. It's certainly better than Protoss would usually get when they're behind in this spot with just a ragtag amount of units. So really good damage getting done for Cyan. The Stalkers can micro against the Marines since they don't have stim yet. 9 SCVs going down in all, and if we look at the worker count, it's currently 26 to 37. So yeah, not bad for Cyan. Things could get a little bit complicated for Cyan, though, once Stim Pack is done for Kier, because he is on that 3 racks production. A lot of bio units could be getting made with that 3 racks production, and then once those units have Stim, it'll make life very, very tough for the Protoss player. And so Cyan has got to be getting out something which will help him out, and his choice is to get +1 and Blink. He's going to have to rely on good Blink micro in order to whittle down the Terran bio force to prevent Kier just from charging in. Seeing as Blink isn't too effective against bio, but when it's a lower number of bio and sort of like a lower eco, more scrappy game, or the Terran's just on 3 racks, not 5, the Blink Stalkers can be effective if the Terran overcommits. Maybe if there's a sentry or 2 in the mix too, that would really help for Cyan. Having a sentry would be huge. Looks like that this drop has actually potentially been spotted by Cyan, knowing that these medivacs are coming in for Kier. Kier, of course, wants to make use of his Marines with their stim pack, but look at that, all these Stalkers are here. The Phoenix is actually going to start targeting down these medivacs, and these Marines are essentially stranded on this island. What an odd situation for Kier. I mean, he can't actually get them out as long as this Phoenix is lurking and waiting. I mean, he could probably get him back to his main base once he has a boost, but the damage that he was going for has been shut down. A lot of his bio was in this position. Cyan didn't really have didn't really reposition the Phoenix to try and catch those, so they will end up getting released, but Cyan held on. He had a bit of time, respite, and then is on 50 probes, so if he can just hold off any aggression from Kier, he'll be in a very good spot, I feel. Now, this is where things will get a little bit concerning. Kier's coming in. He's got 4 Marines, 2 Widowmines. Cyan is going to have to defuse this bomb with his Stalkers, while there's also potentially more aggression coming from Kier with 3 full medivacs. Going to be looking to potentially boost on in. Kier and Cyan are microing against each other right now. Looks like Cyan will absolutely clean up this attack at his 3rd base, but the problem is more of an attack. But oh, look at that. I think Cyan actually picks off Kier's medivac. Huge, huge damage getting done there. Shutting down that drop, shutting down the attack at the 3rd base with relative ease. I mean, Cyan, I would have said he was just straight up dead in this game, but he's really making a fight out of it. And we are now 8 minutes into the game. And it could be going longer as Kier throws up a 3rd CC. Stalkers blink forward for Cyan, a little bit bold. Loses one of them, playing a little bit risky doing that. Charges on the way, though, so he's going to have more muscle in his army to help him out. 1-1 is on the way for both players, so I'd say that's not bad for the Protoss player, both of them being on equal upgrades. Kier, of course, though, is a monster Terran, so once he does have more and more bio rolling, it'll be really good for him. But, oh, Cyan making a huge mistake with those Stalkers. Losing, oh, I'm not sure, that was like 2 or 3 dead Stalkers. Big mistake there, not paying attention. He does have sentries to help him out now, though, which will be quite significant. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, seeing as how Kier is eclipsing that 100 supply mark, let's try and hit 100 likes on this video, or 58 for Cyan's probe count. Either or would be awesome, but if you do enjoy this commentary, slap that like button. Just go ahead and hit it. Now, we have got a forge on the way for Cyan. It is going to be getting up, so we'll be able to potentially start 2-1 upgrades and play maybe a more gateway-heavy style. It will be a bit tricky for him, though, as he's going to have to deal with Kier's army, which has a lot of bio. Force fields go down right away. Zealots are going to eat Widowmine shots, and I think Cyan is definitely going to have to back off with his Stalkers. The sentries can toss down force fields if need be. We see 2 very injured Stalkers at the back. They're going to want to get shuffled behind where they're less vulnerable, but this is where things are going to be a little bit dicey for Cyan. His +1 armor is about to finish up, though, which will help him a lot. But, man, fighting bio versus with mass gateway units is not a comfortable spot for the Protoss player. Cyan, though, is going to step out. He's going to try and take a fight before Cure is really ready for it. Widowmines will get connections off, though, and they deal a lot of damage to those Zealots, so those Zealots pretty much all perish. Cyan was sending out a probe, I guess, hoping to take a 4th base, which is quite bold at this stage in the game. We see Cure now about to go for a drop at the main base of Cyan. These medivacs did get in for the first time. Unlike most other drops, Cyan is taking a fight. He's going to shut down this attack at his 3rd base, but he has to recall to help deal with this drop. He's got to get all of his units in here that he can, and it looks like he actually will clean this up. I think him having +1 armor before the fight really happened in the main base might have been what happened. Otherwise, cleaning that up would have been very challenging for Cyan, but he dealt with it. He dealt with that attack. He only lost 4 probes. He's defending at his 3rd base still. These Marauders take forever to kill Zealots, so Cyan actually hasn't taken too many losses. That being said, he still is only on 3 bases. He doesn't have any AoE coming. He is up against a Terran who's also on 3 bases. So it's a little bit concerning for Cyan. He's fighting the good fight, though. He's now got High Templar, which we'll see if he's just going to make those into Archons or not, and it looks like they will be Archons. He's got 2-2 on the way, which will actually lead him into having a nice upgrade lead, as Cure hasn't even got an armory done yet. These units of Cure could actually be about to be caught. Cyan is on the pursuit, gonna turn Cure on the defensive, buying himself a lot of time by doing so in the process. Really, really nice play, I'd say, from Cyan overall. A little bit fast and hot, but he is playing a really good match, I'd say. Cure showing us his, what I'd say is becoming signature bunker at his 3rd base. Sometimes Terrans would do this. It's not necessarily a staple in the meta, but lately I have seen Cure do this a few times, which is exciting. Seeing any Terran go for a bunker to defend against harassment, I think, is great. Now, things can get a little bit complicated for Cyan as this game goes on, though, because the bio is going to start scaling up. It's going to reach that massive bio ball, which no amount of units by the Cyan, playing fast and hot for sure, runs up with those stalkers. Not sure what that was. It was very ambitious. But yeah, as Cure gets up these ghosts and gets up a big bio count, it will be tough to take on, because the more Zealots you add on, the less effective it is and such. And so we will have to see Cyan take a fight with finesse. For now, he's going for Zealots in the main base of Cure, pulling Cure out of position. Cyan wants to go up this ramp, but I don't think he can. There's too much for Cure at the top of this ramp. Instead, he's going to have to settle for getting the SCV kills. His Prism is still alive. The Zealots, some of them are going to be evacuated. Nicely, nicely done by Cyan. Putting Cure on the defensive is now going to reshuffle towards the 3rd base of his opponent. Going in will be absolutely risky, but I wouldn't put it past Cyan to try this. As the game goes on, though, we are seeing things are actually getting quite nice for Cyan in terms of upgrades, in terms of bases. He's got a 4th base up. He's been keeping Cure on the back foot at a stage which he'd normally want to be dealing damage to his opponent. These Zealots try and grab a reactor. That's cool, as reactors take a really long time to rebuild. Cyan also has his 2-2 upgrades done, so he's now got an upgrade lead, and he's going to be heading into an even further upgrade lead if we take a look. It's 3-3 on the way for Cyan, whereas Cure has yet to start his 2-2. He's also been chrono boosting out his +3, so he will actually have at least a 3-tier upgrade lead over his opponent for some time. Maybe not a long time, but the fact that his upgrades are this good is so scary for Cure, I feel. The supply is quite even right now. Cyan's army still kind of lacks the AoE, but he's playing out of his mind, I'll say. He's getting Disruptors on the way as a way to counter the Ghosts. Since Ghosts counter High Templars, you naturally want an AoE that they don't counter. Cure, as this is going on, though, is building up a 4th base. He is getting Vikings, showing his tenacity. Really thinking ahead, as Cyan very well may get out a Colossus or 2. Here also making more and more Ghosts, getting up Widowmines. This is the effect that we're seeing of Terrans being more comfortable in the macro game. I'd say if this was, say, I don't know, sometime in the past, Cure would have absolutely felt pressured to get damage done now. Instead, he's just saying, fine, I'll build Vikings. I know my 2-2's late, but here it is. I'm gonna get up this 4th command center, build an extra starport, and this is completely because of how Terrans are more comfortable macroing in the matchup now. Cyan, he's got his 4th base pretty well saturated at this stage, which is nice for him. And looking at this map now, it does make me wonder how much or the reason why this is going so well for Cyan, is it because he played the map really well? I mean, he did a very good job shutting down drops in the early game. There isn't really a super easy attack path on this map to take, so I wonder if that's what really hampered Kier's aggression in this game. And even if we talk to a pro, whether it's the Terran or the Protoss that like this map the most. We now see Cyan looking to move forward, maybe try and shut down the 4th base of Kier. If he actually killed that off, it would be huge. I don't think that'll happen, though. He will deny the mining, though, tossing out disruptors, making Kier shake with fear, probably, as disruptors are nasty things. Even killing off SCVs with disruptor hits. He kills off 9, which is not bad at all, as it's not like Kier is on some massive count. We also see Dark Templar are going to be on the table for Cyan. He's getting up Psystorm as well. He's got High Templar in his main base to defend against a big drop. I really, really enjoy how Cyan has been splitting up his army this game. And seems to be having success with it, because that is a tough part about playing Protoss, splitting up your army and covering the multi-pronged Terran aggression. We see Kier has got a decent Viking count. Cyan's going to fire up a couple Colossus anyway. No extended thermal lance with them just yet. But I definitely don't mind having a Colossus or 2 in your army for that passive AoE. Forces the Terran to really think about how many Vikings they're going to be making. Kier is still just out on the map. He's having to dodge disruptors. Cyan has that count of disruptors, which he can pretty much always have a Nova going. And oh, look at this for Cyan. Runs in with some Zealots towards Kier's 3rd base. Gonna get a few kills. The bunker for Kier really paying for itself. The Widowmine he left in position also got a good shot off, softening these Zealots up. So that's really, really good for Cyan. And it looks like we're really heading into a macro game right now. If we take a look, there's a Dark Shrine, a Fusion Core, 3-3, Liberators, another CC up. Yeah, a very, very macro-focused game between these players. Cyan is really splitting up his army, and I'll say he's splitting it up so much. He's got Colossus back here. He's got a ton of units in his main base, worried about that dropping of Kier getting out of control. But I get the feeling that he is out of the map with a little too few units at the minute. If we take a look at his army compared to Kier's, I think Kier's is quite bigger, because Kier's is all blobbed up. So Cyan maybe going to want to pull some units forward, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I enjoy seeing that. Both players are really macroing up now, and for Cyan, that includes getting Shadow Stride, the DT Blink, and then just getting up at 5th base, making as many units as he can. Not sure what happened there. I think a poor unit got selected to free up supply. Probably for an Observer or something, or maybe the Prism, I'm not sure. Kier is starting to push out on the map, but Cyan has expanded inwards. He's just taking an outward expansion now, which might be a little bit vulnerable to an attack like this, particularly as he saw this army was coming. Cyan, though, the way the gears in his head work, he says, oh, you had an attack out on the map? I'm not going to be focused on defending it. I'm going to think, now is my window to attack, so we're going to be seeing Cyan move forward, stepping through Liberators, eating a lot of EMP. He does have Disruptors. His Stalkers blink into these Liberators, and there's some Psystorm going down on the army of Kier. This is such a bold attack from Cyan. Disruptors hit everything. Kier's army takes a beating, but then so does Cyan, bleeding off so much supply. And if we see this attack hitting Kier's base, there's a scan that goes down to see these DTs off, and they will actually all be killed off. There was no Shadow Stride. I think Cyan made a big mistake taking that fight, just going gung-ho, wanting to fight instead of wanting to defend. I understand the pressure, but this has put him in a very tough spot. He lost 9 probes. He's going to lose one of his bases, and Kier is a macro machine behind this. So Cyan was playing a really good game up until that horrible fight that he took, to be honest. Yeah, fighting just right into a PF, right into Liberators, into EMP, mass EMP, I should note. So yeah, that did not go well for him. Supply-wise, he's not in that bad of a spot. He's still got these AoE units, but the concern is that Kier is getting up a 5th base. He's got extra orbitals already building, or already upgrading. He's just going to keep producing units, and I think Kier is a better macro player than Cyan. We even see a nuke on the way for Kier. These medivacs are going to actually sneak by. Well, I guess not because of this Phoenix, so good job, Phoenix. Will it actually pursue? Yes, it will. This drop is going to be getting attacked. The Ghosts even EMP the Phoenix to try and see it off. Phoenix stays alive, Stalkers come forward, the Medivac gets picked off, and so these units will be cleaned up. But at this point, look at Kier's side of the map. He's got orbitals getting up, he's got so many bases, he's mining so much compared to his opponent if we pull up that income tab. And yeah, I don't doubt, or I'm not going to completely count Cyan out, but I think that Terran like Kier is just so tough for a Protoss to approach at this stage, or at this position in the matchup. We even see the nuke getting queued up for Kier. Cyan says, I'm not a Zerg. I don't like dodging nukes. Not that Zergs do, but they're more used to it. And so the nuke's going to land. It's going to kill a few workers, maybe take out a pylon. Yeah, unpowers a few gateways. Not bad at all. And I think this is just going to make Cyan feel even more pressured to attack into his opponent. He is going to get a good attack, as Kier was tied up on those rocks, but he actually changed his mind. He didn't go for it. And Kier was actually attack-clicking on those rocks. Those units could have just been killed off. But I guess Cyan realizing that Kier probably not going to lose his entire army to that. Okay, now we see Cyan is wanting to go for an attack. He does have Colossus. He's got Psystorm. He doesn't have any more Disruptors, but he's still going to be fighting this one out. Stalkers blink forward, pick off a Viking or two. The problem is Kier has the economy to easily replace these, whereas Cyan definitely does not, only at 49 workers. I think we need to see some more Disruptors out for Cyan, to be honest, as the Ghosts just counter everything. High Templar and DTs are in the mix. DTs are running forward, but there's a turret out for Kier. He thinks of everything. The Psystorm goes down to hit some of the units, but we see the Protoss army just evaporate so quick under this Terran force. We see Kier, he's deciding now is the time for a fight. He runs into a very big Psystorm and takes a lot of splash damage, but look at the concave that he's got. He will end up winning out with his mass Vikings, with all of his medivacs and everything, and GG gets called. Cyan falls to Kier in a great TvP. In the end, though, I guess I'd say the better player did end up winning. Really making me a fan of Cyan, though, casting this match. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord to hang out, and if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. All right, this has been LaughNgamez. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.